Yeah.
Come on.
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, and it's about time that I've covered one of my favorite Toyota Camrys. Yes, so what we have here today is a 2006 Toyota Camry V6 model, and it's so good to see one of this because as a second-hand car, this is actually a steal and literally what I want because it's a Toyota. But however, if you squint from the side, look from it kind of looks like a Mercedes up at front. And with good reason as well. And of course, I would like to thank Jeter Lubos behind the camera once again for allowing me to shoot one of his babies. And it came at a perfect time because literally yesterday at the time of the shoot, I have just covered the Camry HEV model. That was a good car in today's standards. But that was 2.6 million pesos. But for this one, you literally read the title right. This was bought at around 150,000 pesos, making me a little bit more frantic now to get one of these in the future. And with good reason too, because buying this thing, I'm so excited, I gotta show you. And one thing I never knew about the XV30, so the grille actually comes along when you pop the hood of this. And voila, Toyota Bliss right here. So hence the name. We have here a 3-liter naturally aspirated V6 engine that produces 210 horsepower and 301 Newton meters of torque. Mated to a, I believe, a 4-speed automatic transmission because it says in the gear shift like 3-2. So usually when it's a 5-speed, 4-3-2. So that's my only assumption because in some catalogs of this vehicle, some are mated to a 5-speed and a 4-speed. But correct me if I'm wrong to all the Camry experts. And this model designation is actually the 1MZ FE engine. So this is actually the predecessor of the 2GR, which you can see in some of the Lotus vehicles. But I've heard this already going up in the car park while shooting for this one. It sounds actually really good for what this is. And down the side profile, you can immediately see that this is an executive sedan because it's longer than that. On the stock form of this has a ground clearance of 150 millimeters, but as you can see with the front suspension of this bad boy, yeah, it's been lowered. But there's something I like about this modified suspension. We'll get to that later on with the driving impressions. But even though this is like a early 2000s car, which is peak automotive by the way, in my opinion, this actually aged really well. And as part of the peak automotive, the rear of this, if you squint hard enough, it kind of resembles that of a BMW E46. And in my opinion only, these are the best taillights of any Toyota Camry. And I freaking love it. And you can tell immediately that the previous owner of this was kind of baguette still because, yeah, there's a very riser exhaust here, just being honest. However, it's only to enhance the sound, which I freaking love. You get a Toyota Team Europe badge here for some reason, and as you can see, the model designation, sorry, it's not a modern car, there's no button here to open the boot itself, but it reminds me of my former daily car, 520 liters. So basically, you can fit 2.3 Jetros in here at the rear. Anyway, so come inside. Usually when you get inside a Toyota Camry, it's so easy to go in, but for this particular unit, of course being lower, it's kind of lower than usual. Can you feel the 2000s vibes in here? I miss this era actually. So here in the door card, a lot of leather stuff, and you can see it's a little bit old, kind of sagging already, but I don't mind it whatsoever. It kind of gives it a little bit more of a character, and you get like, I'm not sure, wooden trim or like a wood looking trim, but it's actually plastic around here in the window switches. Then few stuff here on the left side, you get an extra compartment here, like for example coins. And this is what I like with this Camry XV30. Again, besides the 2000s vibes, it's so old school, and there's so much nicer stuff that actually you can find in what European vehicles that I've tried out recently. And here you have a set of analog gauges, and you can see your gears as such, like PRDN 3.2. That's what I mentioned earlier, that this is a 4-speed because it's only up to 3 here in the shifter itself. And around, there's so much compartments, like 2 cup holders, more above here with a 12-volt socket, ashtray, and another compartment perfect for wallets. And this is the best button in the house. Yes, this actually operates the rear blinds, so in case your executives do not want to be seen whatsoever. And there's one more button there at the back too, which we'll get in a bit. Steering wheel, yeah, very old school, and like this wooden trim up above kind of gives it more of an executive feel. And as you can see here in the middle, this one's a bit modified now since you have a Android based screen, but still retain the temperature, the time, the clock, and more buttons here for your climate control functions. It's really basic, but this was already like peak luxury back in the 2000s. Then a glove box, oh wow, that's like really long. It can fit like a very long wallet of mine as such. And the seats here is actually a really nice touch, kind of resembles that of my former baby Corolla. And I like the badges here up front. Then here we have a center console box. There's two of them, one small one and then one deeper one that comes with a 12-volt outlet just underneath. And the space with the bigger one is actually really good. Above here you get halogen lights, sunglasses holder with a nice lock actually. Then visor, you get a vanity mirror with a halogen light. In the early 2000s, this was already a crazy feature. They don't extend, but look at that, it literally covers my entire face. So that's a good sign already with this Toyota Camry. Now for the business end, let's go to the rear seats. So Jethro is 6 foot right here, and he fits here comfortably at the rear of this Camry. This is why you buy this vehicle in the first place, because of the practicality. And the best button here in the house, yeah, that's so cool when you see it in action. And first drive now with this Camry XV30 V6 feels, I can't help it, I feel at home. And while it's a bit traffic, there are a few more details that I noticed with this vehicle. So this actually has very nice HIDs all around. So even the rear taillights actually look more menacing than usual. And remember, this came as standard. So HIDs back in the 2000s once again was peak. And very weird, you have a parking foot brake, which I have not seen in a very long time. So I was wondering earlier, why was the center console a little bit cleaner, since I forgot there was no handbrake with this vehicle. And first impression, driving impression rather, of the line out of the car park. Remember, this specific one is a little bit lower than usual, so you kind of have to do the S maneuver once you're going up humps or even at steep ramps. But the rest is pretty okay, and typical Toyota, you do have an hydraulic power assisted steering wheel, but it is still very light nonetheless. With this 4-speed automatic transmission, I assume only, you can let me know in the comments down below if this is a 5. But back, even though it is ancient, like as such, it's still a very good and a robust transmission. That's why I never complained with any vehicle that still comes today with a 4-speed automatic. So if you know, you know already. So if you can hear that beep and bounce, so this car actually came with front parking sensors, but it is actually overly sensitive, as like the car is literally almost one car length away from me. And with this exhaust, even though it's kind of loud for a Camry, it's still not too bad. And to the testament of this vehicle, yeah, the glass is not double glazed, but it is actually really thick. So the NVH of this is very good for a 2000s car. Then here, just a little bit of an acceleration test. So that's like 2,500 RPM. Yes, the exhaust, you may hear it, but it's not as loud or as drony as my former daily car. What's with Toyotas and exhausts when it comes with me? So anyway, it must be a nice habit when it comes to me with these kinds of vehicles. And the rest though, like the brakes, it's kind of long, but hey, it's an executive sedan. It's not a Corolla or GR or whatever you want to call it. And try a bit. Yep, she pulls. So as well, going back with the lowered suspension of this, you can tell the handling of this kind of improved, because yeah, it's not too boaty. Well, it is still kind of boaty since this is a long and actually very light vehicle rather. It's not as heavy as some of the current ones or the Camrys that preceded this. So the power to it is actually much more than my Corolla, which I am not surprised whatsoever. So the straight line performance of this is actually really, really crazy. You can get to high speeds in literally no time. And with that exhaust note, literally bliss. Sounds actually really, really pleasant. And maybe ironically, this is a V6 Camry. And despite too with the 4-speed automatic transmission, it's pretty responsive. There's no delay or that and all. And going back now to the suspension, since we're driving here a little bit more of a bumpy road, you can feel it. It's a little bit jittery now than usual. But you can feel like the overall dampening has not been touched because it is still soft overall. Like, it's not a crazy type of suspension. And I cannot believe I'm driving a Camry that's this low to the ground. Oh my God. I'm in love. And being a Camry, one thing you have to take note of though is the turning circle. It is really, really long, which is expected for this. Although I did try this earlier in the car park off camera, if you do plan to take this in the Gymkhana or any autocross races, this can actually do it. Yep, this thing can pull. I am so amazed with this Camry V6. And that engine note, again, I would say very much bliss. So would I want one now in my garage? I think that's a big fat yes. 450,000 pesos for at FB Marketplace. Literally look no further. Oh yeah, and one more thing with this engine. It does consume a lot of oil. However, it is technically bulletproof. So that's the only thing you have to watch out for. Wow, okay. I think I may need to rethink my garage choice after driving this vehicle. And technically, this was the dream Camry for me back in the day. And possibly now. So it's so good to feel like 2004 rich. That's all I can say with this Camry. Yeah, that concludes my second-hand car review. Once again, been a long time and I'm so happy that I was able to drive this XV30 Camry with the correct engine. Again, I'd like to thank Jeto Lubas for allowing me to drive one of his cars again, and probably he'll have more coming soon to the channel. But for now, aside from the Z3M Roadster, this is one of these best purchases in a long time, I gotta say. So, hope you guys like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments down below if you want to see more second-hand car reviews. Bye-bye.